a lot of people don't realize when you're an older brother what it's like. Because if you're an older brother, there's a lot of responsibility.
Completely.
And if you're an older brother and you have to protect the sisters and protect family. So from mental health issues when it comes to your family, how did you help your sisters when they were younger, and how do you do it now when you know something could definitely affect them? Because a lot of people don't take into consideration. Many of us, we go through selfish times. And at times now, we have to be selfish to take care of ourselves.
Completely.
I talked to a friend today. Her mother is relapsed and everything, and she's fallen apart, my friend. I said, look, if you don't take care of yourself, you're not going to be able to help your mom. Then you're going to get mad and blame your mom. When your mom's making choices, I'm not being an asshole. I'm just giving you the reality of the situation. So you get to decide how you're going to be tonight. So how do you help your family when it comes to issues that they might go through?
And I'm glad you mentioned that, because that used to be an issue that I would come across all the time. Quick to help others and not realizing how I can't help myself in certain situations. But it's just like I don't have to be at the end goal to be able to help someone get there. It's a moment in life that I probably came across that you haven't gotten to that I can help with. But as far as the growing up aspect and everything, and from then and now, my position from then and now has swiftly changed. Now in life, and it's been the last, I want to say it's 2012 was when my uncle had passed away. And then about 4 years ago, my grandfather had passed away, which left me to be the last male on my mom's side of the family. So it's more of you don't have control of what someone does, but their results is still your problem.
Oh, yeah.
So you're held accountable for other people's actions. You just can't make them do what you want them to do. Yeah. For me, it's kind of hard to lead by example, because with them, they're still going to see it one way because it's a sibling, and outside is a whole nother perspective. But for the most part with me, I have a sister that's a year younger than me. We were pretty much peanut butter and jelly. We were so close, a lot of people thought we were twins, like look-wise and everything. And with that, I didn't actually physically outgrow her or voice-wise until I was in 11th grade. So, like, I would have annoying people call the house, and I still sounded like my sister, which was funny. I didn't hit puberty. So they were like, Shanice? Like, no, it's Preston. Like, oh, my bad. And I'm like, yeah, man, come on, Jesus. And my uncle would do that a lot. But for me, coming into my manhood of being the protector and more so magnifying what my role was then as a child into manhood, it's just positioning myself in a better position to obtain more, to give more. My family is big on giving. Yeah, like we've been that way since I can remember. We've helped countless people, but it's not about helping to say it. It's to keep people from being not able to be helped themselves. So it's all about prevention. And that's pretty much what my task is today, or just moving forward. It's just more so seeing stuff that I could possibly prevent, and acknowledging the information that I've came through as a man. So making sure that how I want them to be treated, I'm also displaying that in my personal relationships with, not just, a romantic relationship, but just human nature and just regular relationships that you come across. Everyone that I come across, again, it's just all about giving me a moment to express myself, and then clearing whatever you thought up, and then moving forward.
No, it's interesting. You mentioned your uncle and your grandfather. What about your dad?
My dad, he's been there. He's just been very hardworking. He was, and I don't mean to discredit him in any way, shape, or form, because if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be a Yankees fan. But my dad has been incredible. But because he's honestly had a life on working hard and working hard in other ways, it was, I'm going to do these things and keep them away from the family because I don't want it to bleed out into it, unfortunately. But at the same time, I'm doing this for the family. So you see it, you're not a part of it, you're aware of it, you know what's going on. Hustling, everybody pretty much should know at this point. But respectfully, he's been there. It was just, I guess, the bond with my sister that's a year younger than me wasn't as close as she and I. I mean, we did everything together practically.
So let me ask you a question about that. Whatever your dad did. Whatever he does, he does. So how does that affect you as a young man, seeing how your dad did it, working, doing this, doing whatever he had to do on the side, making sure you had everything. But from an emotional point of view, it seems like maybe he wasn't there the way that you wanted it to be. So you can see where, and this happens a lot in families, and especially when I talk to the dynamics, Where a lot of families, it's like I dealt with the family and the husband said, well, look, I provide everything. I said, well, that's not what we're talking about.
Right.
The one thing you don't provide is your daughter the emotional possibility
support
of having a father. Well, I've given her everything. She's gone to the best. I said, you gave her money. All she's asking, this was in a meeting or a family thing. I said, all she's asking is just to trust who she is.
Right.
But he's stuck on, I gave you money. I provided. So how do you take that and realize, well, my dad was who my dad is, and he still is. You love your dad. I take that.
Completely.
But at the same time, there's limits.
Completely.
So how do you take that and realize that you have to be well-rounded with the people, not just provide them? It's kind of like you have your own shows. You have people who work with you. All right? You got to pay them. So it's kind of like family. It's like I always tell people, we have the family we're born into. Then when you work, you have a close-knit people. So you got a brother, sister, aunt, uncle, someone who plays that part, even though they weren't born into it.
Right.
So you having people who work, like Mark, our producer. Mark has people that work under him. But at the same time, he's got to be a father figure. We talked about this with one of the employees recently. You know, and a lot of times people, when you have to, I don't say discipline them, but call them on their shit, they're going to, and they're going to turn around and just badmouth you. Some bullshit. So how do you handle that now where you got a chance to see it? How does that make you feel that you're somewhat responsible, not just for your sisters, but when it comes to your own mental health, knowing that someone comes to you, they might need a little extra money, but you know they're not doing the job. You know it's affecting 5 other people, but you were raised to do service. Because I'm a giver, and I've given so much, I've lost so much. But then again, when I used to get mad, I realized, why can't I get mad at you when I'm the one that kept going? How do you handle that nowadays?
Oh, man. It's funny because mentioning Mark, he was a key factor in one of these personal situations that I came across to where I had to just let go. You can hold on to stress and strain, but if you've stepped into my world, those things will keep you in the hospital almost dying. So I've actually had some near-death experiences with carrying on weight on my shoulders that don't need to be there.
Can you give us an example?
Of course.
Please.
So transitioning from my last platform over to the solo platform I'm doing now, it was a lot of background things going on. And I will say I will be mature in expressing myself on the situation, but I felt like there was a communication factor that could have been made better between men. And I feel, again, we alluded to this, and I don't want to put people's personal business out there, but I will say, no matter what a person says about you, don't forget what a person's done for you. And that's the complicated situation I'm in right now. I'm owed a certain amount. It doesn't matter what it is. It could be credit. It can be a certain amount of love, support, or whatever. I feel like I'm owed a certain amount because of the sacrifices that I did make for people today to actually feel like they're in a better position. And that's just how I personally feel. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong, and I love to be wrong.
Let me stop you, first of all. Number one, you can't be wrong because it's how you feel.
Okay.
I think this is one thing that I've learned from you, talking to you last week, talking to what I do. If we feel a certain way, we're not wrong. Now, if someone brings enlightenment to show that maybe we made the negative or maybe made the wrong choice.
Yes.
But when you feel it, you feel it. And I think one of the big things in our society is we always want to negate.
Right.
Like you just said. I had someone say to me the other day, you know, look what I've done for you. And I said, okay, what have you done for me? Well, I gave you a chance. I said, no, you didn't open that door. I did. And they're like, how do you believe that? I said, because who I am is why the people met with me. What I've done for him is why I'm still with him. If you wanted to open a door for me the right way, you should have said, Dennis, it's a business proposition. I want a percentage. And
I love that perspective.
And because, you know, we always have, I love when people say, you know, I did this for you. Because you could open up a door for me. Okay, I could go in, the people could hate me. He's an asshole, he's arrogant, he's never gonna do it. Then, what are you gonna say? What'd you do? You fucked it up, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But knowing my personality, you already knew that might happen. But then again, if I'm successful, a year from now, you come to me and say, hey, you know what? You know, I deserve something. When you help me in that moment, that's when you deserve it.
Right.
But a lot of people do what you say. It's that one thing. It's like, I truly believe divorces and relationships don't end because 99% is great. It could be 1% that you can't forget. And so the situation you're in, how do you handle it now that helps you mentally? Because obviously it eats at you at times.
Yes.
So how do you handle it mentally to where stress, depression, anxiety, vindictiveness don't play a part of your daily role?
I sit with myself. I literally give myself a good 30 minutes. I play some music. Doesn't matter. It could be different tempos because it's just the tune that's getting my mind really going. It's not the lyrics that's what's being sang. But for me, it's more so sitting with myself and understanding the path that I'm on now, not the path that I used to be on. I would block my blessings of the future if I was too busy worried about the
How long
past.
did it take you to get there? And is it a constant that you still have to do it?
It's a constant that I still have to do it because at times, and I'm a human being, at times we trip over the same step that we've already went over.
Of course.
So at times I will sit and reminisce on certain moments or things just happens on my phones. Like, those a year ago from now you were doing this, and it's like, oh gosh. But for me, it's just truly having blessed individuals like Mark around to keep my perspective on the goal that's at hand, not what was.